Okay, so when we last left our hero, then we were talking about the sequencing, I guess, between of the 14 books.
Yeah, I don't remember this. I was here.
You were here, yeah. You don't remember seeing it because you didn't see it. I mean, I was reading it. And so the basic idea, I actually want to start from the beginning of it again, not the entire thing, but just the phrase that starts with, well, I guess this is the entire thing. Let's, you see on that column there where it says all the books, right? So let's just start on the Machatzis Chibur Osekes. You see it there? Mm-hmm. So half of the compendium deals b'hanhagas hayachid u'machatzisa b'hanhagas ha'uma b'ha'chebra. So half of it deals with the conduct of the individual, and half of it deals with the conduct of the nation and the society. And again, it's very loose there in the sense that obviously there are mitzvos on individuals in the second half and mitzvos on the society in the first, but loosely, or generally speaking. Hareva harishon shelo osek b'hanhagas ha'adam atzmo b'chaim b'ma'aglosehem. So the first quarter of it, which is Hamada, Ava, and Zmanim, deals, so not exactly quarter, but the first quarter of it deals with the conduct of a person himself in his life and Maglosem paths. Hachibur poseach tchila biyasodos haTorah u'itzuv chay hayehudi b'chol eis Sefer Hamada. So first it opens with foundations of the Torah, and we didn't look up what Ituv was, of the Jewish life at all times, the life of the Jew at all times. That's Sefer Hamada. Pone lasok b'tefillah of masim hayom yomim hamavim l'kirvas Hashem. Then it turns to tefillah, to be involved in tefillah and the daily actions which bring you to closeness to God, which, like the Rambam says, is ahava and zechira. Yeah. Over Misham El Moadei Hashana. Then it goes on to the holidays of the year, Sefer Zmanim. Hareva Hasheni Shelo, the second quarter of the book, Osek B'hanhagas Adam B'yachas L'Sevivaso U'Beves HaYehudi. So the second one deals with a person's relationship to his environment and the Jewish household. B'hakamas HaMishpacha Osek HaSefer Haba. Chaim, we're doing this little publisher's intro to the Mishneh Torah from this edition, which just talks about the relationship between the 14 books. And I posted it in the WhatsApp group, but we're not going to spend the whole time with that. We're just reading 2 paragraphs. That's the, it deals with the, so the next book deals with the setting up of the family. And cautioning us against the sexual prohibitions and being entrenched in physicality, which is related to that. That's Sefer Kedusha. Mitoch kach nidonus bo hahibadlus v'haprishus ha'atzmis min ha'sovev. Then it deals with separation and abstinence, essential abstinence from the sovev. I think is the I don't know what sovev here is in modern Hebrew.
Lying?
No, I don't think so. Let me just get my dictionary here. I would ask someone to get a dictionary, but that was a difficult chore last time. Right? There were like fake dictionaries, or not fake ones. Yeah,
there are a lot of weird ones.
Yeah, weird ones. Okay, I'm just looking at the dictionary here. Okay, so sovev holecha ruach. Yes, to turn, to rotate. Radius. Okay, I guess radius is probably the way that he's using it.
I got surrounding.
Surrounding. Okay, yeah. Ha'atzmis min hasovev. Apprecious ha'atzmis min hasovev. Surroundings. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? The essential abstinence or separation from his surroundings. Yeah, separation from his surroundings makes better. Yeah. Bichlal, because that's Sefer Haflah, right? So that's Nedarim and Shavuos. Bichlal beso shel ha'adam ushar ruchusho chalos ha-mitzvos laha'anig la'aniyim laseis matanos lakohanim. So included in the household of a person and the rest of his wealth falls mitzvos, which are to give, to provide for aniyim, and to give gifts to kohanim. Shvisas Adama, Achas B'Shavashanim, Megia L'Si'ah. That was another word we didn't know last time. Si'ah is summit, peak, climax, apex, culmination, zenith, acme, pinnacle. Okay.
Acme?
Acme.
Oh, acme.
Yeah.
one of these doesn't fit.
Yeah, I didn't know that that's what the word Acme meant. I thought it was just a Looney Tunes company. Yeah. All right. The cessation of the land in the every 7 years brings us to the pinnacle of B'hachrazas Hacherus B'shnas Yovel, of the proclamation of freedom in the Jubilee year. That's Sefer's Rhyme. That's how the first half concludes. Hilchos Hayovel movilos be'ofen tivi el hamachatis hashniya shel chibur. See, the laws of the Jubilee transition naturally to the second half of the compendium, which deals with the governance of the society. Oops, just zoomed in a lot. Okay, so next is.
So that's the first half.
That's the first half, yeah.
Even though Zerayim is or whatever Yovel and all that stuff is.
Yeah, I mean, it really sounds like he's saying that Zerayim is kind of split. That it's obligations on the individual, but really it's pertaining to the land, and like the land is like the substratum of society, and that's therefore it's like the middle point, the transition point to the other part. That sounds like what he's saying. Yeah. All right. Then next, did I skip something? Yeah, I did. Hamachzit hashniya afhi. Okay, so the second half is also divided in two. Hareva Rishon osek b'hilchos hamikdash, b'korbanos hatzibur, b'korbanos hayachid, uvataras haguf v'hadaas. Yeah, so the deals with the halachos of mikdash in the communal korbanos and the individual korbanos, and the purification of the body and the mind. He's getting that from the end of the Rambam Hilchos Mikvos that says that the remez in tahara and mikvah is like purification of the mind from bad ideas. Cool. Yeah. The last fourth of the book deals with the orders of justice and rulership. Tchila mituaros bo ha-mechuyavuyos ha-mishpatios hamutalos al adam b'chovaso. So the first one describes the legal obligations that are incumbent upon a person in his b'chovaso lihizaher milahazik lezulaso, in his responsibility to guard against damaging others. Sefer Nezikin. Benihul habailus al nechasav, and then in the governance of ownership over property, that's Sefer Kinyan. Uvihis chayuv. Oh man, don't do this to me. His chayvuyosav. His chayvuyosav haishius. His personal responsibilities, binyani mamon, and that's in Sefer Mishpatim. Hachibur mistayemes, and then the compendium concludes betir shnei hamostos hamuchavadim shel ha'umah ha'yisraelis, with the two foundations or institutions, I guess, that are towards which the Jewish nation is directed. HaSanhedrin v'hamalchus, or which I guess direct the Jewish nation. The Sanhedrin and the kingship. That's Sefer Shoftim. Yemos Mashiach umashma usam chosmim es haSefer beinyan sheniftach bo. And the Sefer concludes with the same topic that it began with. Vayamim hahem yasigu hakol es da'as boram kfi koach adam. In those days, all people will attain knowledge of their Creator according to the capacity of man. Shnei kimala aretz dea es Hashem kamayim le'amachasim. As it says in Yeshayahu, the entire earth will be filled with knowledge of Hashem like the water that covers the seabed. Yeah. Yeah, so that's I find that this is just a good thing to have in mind as you go through the Mishneh Torah. Of like, that was one way of talking about like the flow, but there is an order to the books, and like it does outline like Jewish life as a whole, and good to like tweak every once in a while. I haven't like written my own formulation of it, but yeah. Okay. Ready? Yeah, it does also. Yeah. Okay, so. Yeah, even like the knowledge of like the tzibur thing versus the individual thing, just helpful. Yeah, like I'll take that for granted, and like I'll say to someone like open, to like Sefer, tahara, and they'll be like looking after his manim, and like it's just like once you see the structure, then it's easier. Yeah. Okay, so now we're ready to plunge into the particulars of each Sefer.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Sefer Hamada, Hilchos of Chamesh v'zehu Siduran. Oh, so I got to tell you, by the way. So this is something you might want to do on your own, in your own way. So so there are various memory tricks, right? So a while ago, I read this book called Moonwalking with Einstein about like memory champion, I think, and it was that was the first time I read about the memory palace technique.
Right.
Yeah. So this was during an era in Shalhevet when there was a rule that proctors were not allowed to do anything during their proctoring whatsoever. Like you couldn't be working, you couldn't be grading. And so what I did was, and they like strictly enforced it. And so what I did was I printed out I printed out a list of this in the Mishneh Torah. And my goal was to memorize all of the mitzvos in order in the exact formulation that the Rambam did it. And what I used is, the way that the memory palace technique works is the theory. This is for people who are visual. Sorry, Isaac, to marginalize you. I guess the theory is that people evolve to be able to like have good locational and spatial, sense. And so what you do is you take that you might have, I don't know.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that you take, so what you do is you take a location you're familiar with, and then you come up with images that represent the various things that you are trying to remember, and you place them in that in the rooms or in the various locations within that structure. And then in order to remember them, you take a walk through that in your mind, So what I did was I took the entire yeshiva, the old building, and I said the base midrash is Sefer Hamada, and the Rabbi Mann's room is Sefer Ahava, and the kitchen is Sefer Zmanim, and the downstairs is Sefer Nashim. And then I populated it with all the images. And let's say I took the within Sefer Hamada, within the base midrash, I did it clockwise around the room. So I said the place where Rebbe used to sit, that's where Sefer Hamada is. And Hilchos Yesodei Torah, that's where all the mitzvos there are. And I came with 10 images there and then walked around the room. And what it did, and then what I would do, again, this is for 2 weeks of proctoring, it was like torture, for hours on end. So I would just sit there and I would memorize it and it would give me something to do. And it was very useful. I got through, this was years ago, but I got through all of Sefer, I got partway through Sefer Kedusha. I think I got up through the Arayos or something like that,
Is it including the Prakim?
What was that?
Is it including the Prakim?
No. Just the list. Yeah. And so it was a good exercise. And I also used to do it on the plane. And so those are the 2 times I did it. And then I did that for a couple of years and that worked. And then I switched to doing the memorizing the Masorah, which I forgot. Did I mention that when we were going through the Masorah list? So the way I did it there was the walk from yeshiva to my apartment. So I did from the opening of the door to Elvira was the era of all the people in Tanakh. And then from there to Reed's Lane was the first generation of the Tanaim or something like that. And I had it all mapped out by era,
Cool.
And then I got pretty far in that also. I think I got to the chavurah.
Wow.
So I don't remember, but the nice thing about these things is that it's easy to resurrect, or at least for me in terms of because I do have a very visual mind. And so if I worked at it, then you could quiz me and I could do it,
Cool.
But yeah.
Yeah. Johnny Sassoon did the same. I think there's a
Johnny Sassoon has a real system that he got from Chacham Greenberg. Yeah. It was a teacher in our high school. So he had a very, very, what's the word? Flexible is the wrong word, but a system that you could apply it to anything with that. Mine was all particularized. I had individual images, his was uniform where you I forgot what it was, A represents a certain thing, B represents a certain thing. And then he applied it to everything and did it to the same Mishneh Torah. So yeah. And the advantage of this again, is that the whole, one of the points of the Rambam organizing it this way is that in your mind, you see what's related to what, and you have different groupings of mitzvos in your mind. So that whenever you learn any halacha or any even non-halacha, any idea, you file it away in the place where it is in the Mishneh Torah of your mind, And so it allows you to have everything at your fingertips and also be able to find your way in the book,
Right.
And then theoretically, what Ezra said is it can be done after that is once you know all the sections, then the chapter identities are not that hard in the things that are familiar, I think many of us have done Hilchos Tshuva more than one time. And you get a sense of in the middle is Bechira, the beginning is Vidu and Tshuva, and then you can fill that in also. So it's very, very handy.
Cool. Do you have to review it over? Do you just put it in its place and then like you got it, or you have to like walk through it a few times to like.
You when you first do it, you have to walk through it a few times, and then I found that it would stick for the entire year often, and then but also it also helps because Mishneh Torah I am interacting with on a daily basis. So I mean, not every single part of it, but like if it was a completely arbitrary list or something like that, or something I didn't come back to, then I don't know how long it would last. Yeah. So I just thought I'd mention that at the outset in case you need something to do, like yeah.
And also at the outset, can I ask a question? That pasuk that comes before every Sefer.
Yeah.
Are we going to be defining that?
So we're gonna take a stab at it, but not go into depth because it's a Bekius here.
Was that
what was it?
Was it Kishem Hashem Kel?
No, he's saying the one that you. So the Rambam has B'Shem Hashem Kel Olam in front of every Sefer, but then for each Sefer he has a unique crowning pasuk. So like on Sefer Mata is Meshochas Decha Liodecha V'Tzikas Liyashrei Lev. And he usually has the word in it or something that is like similar. Like second one is like Ma'ahavi Torsacha Kol Hayom Hi Sichasi.
Right.
So it's Ahava.
Cool.
Yeah. So we'll see what we do when we get there, Ezra. The principle in this here is that when we want to go into depth, we ignore the fact that it's a Bekius here, and then when we choose to move on or we can't come up with something, we say, "Oh, this is a Bekius here. We have to move on." Yeah, Isaac.
I just want to state that there's other ways of learning things besides for like memory palace.
Yes. Yep. Okay.
No.
All right. Sefer Mata, Hilchos of Chamesh. There are five Hilchos of Chamesh. Oh yeah, meaning there's 5 sections of halachos. V'zehu Sidran. This is their order. Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, the laws of the foundations of Torah. Hilchos Deos, the laws of. All right, this is one of these questions, right? Is like, what's the best translation for Deos? Did you say something yesterday?
Maybe something about. Well, isn't it like?
Functionally, it's character traits, but the question is like, as far as I'm aware, and I have not researched this, but the Ram is the first one to use the term Deos instead of like midos. Like midos is the classic word,
right?
Or ma'alos, like he uses in the Arabic in the Pirush Mishnayos. But like Deos is using the word knowledge to describe character traits, and I've often searched for a word that like clearly and non-awkwardly conveys character traits, but also has like a reference to knowledge in it. And I feel like I had a word once, but I don't remember what it is. What do you say?
Self-knowledge vis-a-vis character traits.
Emphasis on the non-awkward. Yeah.
I think the problem with midos would be the equivocation with like measurements and base mikdash and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know though how problematic that is, just because it is a standard usage, like Chazal use it, like Arba Midos, Holochle the base Midrash,
Right, but there is a Masechet Midos. Like
right.
Masechet Midos.
Yeah, but the Ram is clearly not bothered, not tied down by Masechta names,
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's about measurements.
Yeah, I'm saying. I know. Yeah, I'm saying like it would have been confused with that.
Yeah, but like there's lots of terms. Let's say like the word derech eretz. There's a Masechtas derech eretz, and like derech eretz means business, but it also means like bia, and it also means common courtesy. So like there's we would see pretty quickly in the wrong what it's about if we read it.
Yeah.
So deos, character traits. Yeah. All right, Hilchos Talmud Torah, the laws of Torah study, right? Because Talmud Torah is not learning and it's not teaching; it's both. Hilchos Avodah Zara v'Chukos Hagoyim. Oh, this is a PSA here. Is that one of the many bad things about the standard editions of the Rambam is that they don't always use the right titles for the sections, right? So, for example, you'll find many ones that say Hilchos Avodah Zara, or even worse, Hilchos Avodas Kochavim, right? But they'll leave out Avodah Zara v'Chukos Hagoyim, And when we get to that, which we're probably going to do today, you'll see it is very strange because of the 51 mitzvos in, I think 51. Let's see if I got that right.
Yeah, 51.
Yeah, 51. Of the 51 mitzvos in Avodah Zara, only one of them is literally Chukos Hagoyim. And then if you look at the ones that fall into that category, it's only one chapter, so just kind of weighted differently, or let's say like similar when we get to Hilchos Tefillah, it's really Hilchos Tefillah Birkas Kohanim,
Right.
So like or Hilchos Malachim Umilchamos, and so I think people just like in shorthand drop the title to make it suit them. And the whole point of the Rambam titling like this is so that you define the inyan, so it's a travesty.
Is the Rambam trying to say there that Chulukas Goyim is not like grouped under, like they're related, but they're not, it's not a subset of what is there?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly what terms I would use, but it's distinct enough that it warrants its own mention, and similar enough that it's in the same Hilchos. Yeah. And then Hilchos Tshuva, right? Laws of Tshuva. Okay, so here we go. Hilchos Yisodei Torah. Yesh bichlan eser mitzvos. Sheish mitzvos aseh v'arba mitzvos los aseh. They're included in it 10 mitzvos, 6 positive and 4 negative. This is a general question I don't know if we can answer, which is we saw why the Rambam said he needed to list all the mitzvos in the beginning of the book to make sure that not one is omitted. And we saw why, or we didn't see why. We got an intuition for why he listed them in that order because it was associative and that seemed to lend itself to memory. And we speculated about why he says ases and los ases. Okay, so that was for the beginning of the book. But now that he's going into putting this into the sections, is it really important for him to, why is it important for him to list how many mitzvos are in it and how many mitzvos aseh and los aseh? You could just say it's the same goals as before, but it's, once you're already doing a completely new classification scheme in which mitzvos aseh and los aseh don't matter,
right? Then
it is interesting that he preserves that classification when he gets here.
Wait, which classification?
Of asehs and los asehs. Why does he have to, in other words, just go Hilchos Yisodei Torah v'zehu pratan and then start listing them? Why does he have to say there are 10 mitzvos, 6 of them are aseh, 4 of them are los asehs?
Right.
Yeah. Something to think about. I don't know. Okay. Oh, another PSA. You can't see this. Sorry. I guess I told you this yesterday, but it's on here also. In certain editions of the Rambam, then when you look at the listing in this Chalukas Asfarim, it'll tell you which number aseh it corresponds to. So it does that on all Torah.
Yeah.
Because I think all Torah is using the same text as that. Right. So that's very handy if you need to know where to find something in Sefer Mitzvos. If you know where to find it in the Mishneh Torah, which is going to be more likely, you'll be able to find it in the Sefer Mitzvos. Right. Okay. Zehu Pratan. These are their particulars.
Are all of these worded the same way?
Nope.
Oh man.
That's one of the reasons why we're going through it again, to see the different wording. Leda Shisham Eloka, right? To know that there is a God.
That's the same.
Yeah, we're not going to do this for every single one of them. that I have no patience for. Shelo Yale b'machashava sheyish sham Eloka zulasi Hashem. So that is different, right? It's the same? Okay. To not entertain in thought or not bring up in our thought that there exists a God other than Hashem.
That's confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Third one, liachado, to unify him. Fourth one, ahavo, to love him. Fifth one, liyira mimenu, to be in fear of him.
Question?
Yeah.
I forgot. What did we say? Was there an action attached to liachado?
Yeah, is the process of stripping away plurality and multiplicity, the continual everlasting process, as opposed to Leda, which is to establish that he exists via knowledge, via your knowledge, that you can do as a discrete thing, 6, Lekadesh Shemo, to sanctify his name. I forgot if I pointed this out when we went through this, but slight pet peeve of mine is when people don't realize it is Kiddush Hashem, and they think it's Kiddush Yod Kei Vav Kei, and there's the pasuk expresses it that way, but we do talk about it as an act done to the name of God, and I think that's an important thing to remember when you're thinking about the mitzvah. 7, Shlo L'chalal es Shemo, not to desecrate his name, or to treat it as mundane if you don't like the word desecrate. 8, Shlo L'abid Devarim Shenikra Shemo Aleim. That's one that was different, right? If you want to look at that, Los Aseh 65.
Whoa. Jumped around a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's late on the list. I think that was surprised us last time also. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's very different, right?
What was the how was the order of the minion made?
So the order of the minion, it's one of the it's like the equivalent of the theory of everything, but for like Rambam scientists, what is the overarching principle of the order? All we noticed is that it was associative in nature, that he would group things together so that you can have like long chains of mitzvos that link A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, and it's not grouped by topic in the same way. So that's all we know. Rabbi Zucker gave a shiur on it once where he, I think, tried to explain all of the order, but I don't remember the shiur.
It's interesting.
Okay, thanks.
It seems like in the Sefer mitzvos, the median mitzvos,
yeah,
he's like just kind of listing all the like examples of it. Not like all the details, obviously.
Right.
Like just examples of the things.
Yeah.
Here he's like giving the unifying.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's odd.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't recall. I guess we'll have to see if that's a trend. Like, is he more universal in the Chalukas Asfarim than he is in the Minyan Mitzvos? We'll see. 9 is Lishmoa min Hanavi Hamadaber Bishma. To obey, here, I think it means obey, to obey a prophet who speaks in his name. And 10 is Shalol Naso, so not to test him. Yeah. What was that? Can you look, that was close also, is Samach Daled. It's interesting how that comes before. Okay, fine. Yeah, so because I think the pronoun here, Shalol Naso, so is the Navi, right? So there he puts it in terms of the Dvar Hashem. Here he puts it in terms of the Navi. That's not a major difference, but
yeah. That, if anything, that seems less universal.
This one, not just the Navi. Yeah.
It seems more structural. That seems more like the nature of it.
Yeah.
Which is the opposite of what the other one.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right, there goes our theory. Yeah. Hilchos Deos, yesh b'chol achas esrei mitzvos. So there are in it 11 mitzvos. Chamesh mitzvos to say, v'shesh mitzvos lo say. 5 positive and 6 negative. V'zehu pratan. These are they. 1, lehidamos bidrachav. To make ourselves resemble his ways. What was that one? Was that the halakha bidrachav? I think it was also hidamos. Hatovim ve'isharim. Yeah, so that's also particular. Not so particular, but more particular. 2, lihidabik biyoda av. Oh, that's interesting. That I would definitely remember if that was the same. What? Yeah, so that's really interesting, right? Because ledavka bo is the lashon of the pasuk, to cling to God. This is lihidabik biyoda av, to cling to those who know Him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that how Chazal?
That's how Chazal say it. Yeah, right. We did notice. Not universally, but we did notice a trend of him following the lashon of the pasuk a lot in the minyan mitzvos, didn't we?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It was such a long period of time. I've lost all memory now.
Yeah.
3, lehov es reim, to love friends. 4, lehov es hagerim. Someone once said, by the way, that reim, that a better word for reim in the way that we use it, even though it has bad connotations now, is comrade, because it's not exactly like a love, like an ohev or an ahuv, or like. I
think also, doesn't it technically only refer to Jews?
Yeah, it refers to Jews, right.
So
comrade's good, yeah. 4, lehov is hagerim, to love converts. 5, shelo lisno achim, not to hate brothers. Oh, there he uses brothers. 6, lehochiach, to rebuke. 7, shelo lahalbin panim, not to whiten faces, right, not to embarrass people. 8, shelo la'anos ame lalim. This is interesting also. I think the minyan mitzvos is more particular. This is not to afflict downtrodden people. I think they spelled out Yasom and Almana in the list.
Oh yeah, wait.
Yeah, so that also follows the lashon of the pasuk.
Right.
Okay, this is unifying them. Tes shlo lahalich rachel. This was also different. Not to go as a gossip monger. Yeah, l'ragel, and that is that's not following the lashon of the pasuk, right? Lo selech rachel b'amecha is the pasuk, and the Koseres here follows that. Oh, there goes. Right. Yeah, so hard. 10 shlo linkom, not to take revenge. 11 shlo lintor, not to bear a grudge. Okay. Hilchos Talmud Torah yesh bichlalan shtei mitzvos aseh. There are 2 mitzvos aseh, no mitzvos lo aseh. Rishona. Did yours say the word Rishona?
Yeah. Why?
Oh, maybe it's just because there's only 2 of them. It's just weird. It doesn't say Aleph and Bet.
Oh.
You know, it says first and second. We'll have to see if there are any other sections that only have 2 of them and see if he does something like that. Lilmod Torah, to learn Torah. Oh, so here he does say Lilmod Torah, not Lilmod Ulalamed. And then Shnia Lachabid Malamdeha Vyodaeha, to honor those who teach it and those who know it. It implies from there that not everyone who teaches knows. Yeah, Isaac.
Looking a little bit ahead, in Sefer Hilchos Tefillah U'Birkas Kohanim, because it's Yish Bechol and Shnia Mitzvah the same. Achas, and Shnia.
That's strange. Yeah. I have no idea. Yeah, Achas is even weird. That means one, not first. It's not even like, in other words, it doesn't say, I mean, it says one and second, not first and second. Yeah. Don't know what to make of that. All right. Hilchos Avodah Zarah. Here we go. Yesh b'chlan achas v'chamishi mitzvos, shtei mitzvos aseh, v'tesha v'arba'im mitzvos lo aseh. You remember what the 2 asehs are? Without looking? Destroy Avodah Zarah. Yeah.
And to burn the Aaron.
Yep, burn Aaron. Yep, good. All right. Zeu pratan. These are they. 1, shlo lifnos achar avodah zarah, not to turn after avodah zarah. 2, shlo lasur achar hirhur halev uriyas hainayim, not to stray after the musings of the mind and the seeing of the eyes. 3, shlo lagadef, not to blaspheme. 4, shlo yavod osa kederech avodasa, not to worship it in the customary manner of its worship. 5, shlo yishtachvelo, not to prostrate yourself to it. 6, shlo lasos pesel atma, not to make a graven image for yourself. 7, shlo lasos pesel afilu la'acherim, not to make a graven image even for others. 8, shlo lasos tsuros afilu lanoi, not to make images even for beauty. 9, shlo lahadiach acherim achareha, not to mislead others after avodah zarah. 10, lisrof ir hanidachas, to burn an ir hanidachas. 11, shlo livnosa, to not build it. 12, shlo lehanas mikol mamona, not to derive hana, enjoyment or benefit from any of its property. 13, shlo lahasis yachid la'avda, not to entice an individual to worship it. 14, shlo lehava mesis, not to love the enticer. 15, shlo la'azov sinasa, not to abandon his hatred. 16, shlo lahatzilo, not to save him, meaning like in court. 17, shlo lalamet alav zchus, not to be to teach a meritorious argument for him, also in court. 18, shlo yimana milalamet alav chova, not to refrain from teaching chova, liability on him in court. 19, shlo.
Why do you use the notion of lalamet, like to teach? Is it just? I mean.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it is the idiom, right? You're asking on the idiom, not on the lalam. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess you are making a. It is a type of you're making an argument. You're constructing an argument from cases. It is interesting, lalamed. Yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah, like don l'kaf chova. Right. I guess, but that might suggest like actually judging. Yeah, I don't know. 19, shlolihin nabe bishma, not to prophesy in its name, in the name of avodah zarah. 20, shlolishmo min hamisam bishma, not to obey one who prophesies in his name. In its name. 21, shlolihi snabe b'sheker, not to prophesy falsely. Vafilu b'shem Hashem, even in the name of Hashem. Was that stated the same way there? 27. 27, shlolihi snabe b'sheker. No, it doesn't say afilu b'shem Hashem. Yeah. Okay.
It's a weird qualification. Like, I mean, I understand there could be like, I kind of see how there could be a reason for it, but it just like sounds like you might have thought that it's fine to just be like prophesizing falsely in B'Shem Hashem.
Well, what makes it less weird is the pasuk he quoted in the Minyan Mitzvos is Asher Yazi Ladaber Davar Bishmi Asher Lo Tzivisiv. So the pasuk puts it in terms of in God's name, you know. So if anything, the formulation is weird that he puts the emphasis here on the avodah zarah, you know. Yeah. Where are we now?
Okay, fine. So that's weird.
Yeah. Shlo lagur meharigas navisheker, not to be afraid of killing a navisheker, not to be intimidated. 23, shlo lishava b'shem avodah zarah, not to take an oath, make a swear in the name of avodah zarah. 24, shlo lasos ov, not to make an armpit friend. 25, shlo lasos yidoni, not to make a bird bone friend.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so weird is that a Gemara that it's described like that? Because I was just doing the Ramban with Yaakov, and he says that it's like, I think it was Open Yidoni, that they went to like you go to a grave and you stand over the body and you like rattle it.
Yeah.
rattle something over it? Is that
Yeah.
the same thing?
I think so. I mean, we read the descriptions in the Sefer mitzvos, right?
Yeah, is that? Oh, is that?
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
I don't know if all the details are the same, but yeah, one of them had to do with the
Okay.
graveyard, and one of them has to do with the bone of the bird, of the doe bird. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
So this is to make them. Okay, then Shlo 26, Shlo lahavir la molech, not to pass your offspring over to Molech. 27, Shlo lahaki matzeva, not to set up a what do we call it? Like a worship stone? I forgot what it was. 28, what was it?
Altar stone?
Yeah, I don't know if it's was it an altar? I don't know if it's an altar that you bring korbanos on. A pillar is what it was. It was a avodah zarah pillar. 28, shalol hishtachos al evan maskis, not to prostrate yourself onto a stone floor, stone floor.
Isn't maskis hewn?
I don't think so. Is it?
I think so.
Maskis, well, we learned maskis in Mishlei as tiled, right? Covered up.
I think it means hewn.
I don't know. There is an expression for hewn. I mean, chatzav is usually what we use for hewn. Nechzav. I don't know.
I feel like I recall seeing hewn stone and it was.
Let's see what this is in. Wow, that's number 12. Let's just look it up in the pasuk and then use the concordantia. Evan Maski. So 12. This is in Vayikra 26:1. So let me look at the 26:1 in all Torah. Remind me after this to tell you what I was going to be tempted to do in this year, and I two things I was going to be tempted to do instead of doing this today, and I restrained myself because it would have taken us far afield for about 2 weeks, but it would have been really good to do. So I just have to tell you, so like you can see, you know,
We can vote.
What?
What is it?
I'll tell you after.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm not going to say on the thing. All right, maskis is. It is related to Rambam Bekius also. All right, maskis is showpiece, figure, or imagination. What? That can't be. Oh, carved figure of idolatrous symbols. Okay, matseva on ancient rock carvings in Canaan. I don't know what that is. Could we get an art scroll? Oh, there's no longer back here. Yeah. Vayikra 26:1. If you would like to look at it. I'll look it up here on this translation. And that also has the word matzeva, so we could look that up also. Figured stone is what it says here for Evan Maskis.
This is a flooring stone.
Yeah, that's like in Mishlei, right? That's where we saw in Mishlei.
This is the second Mishlei pasuk where it's like showing money in a favorable light. It's interesting.
That the puzzle that I'm referring to.
That one was the first, and then today was the second.
Right.
Yeah,
Although this is not necessarily money, right? The one that we did today.
That's true.
Yeah.
Mata. Yeah, right.
Gifts, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you presumably need to buy the gift, but yeah. So Unkla says for that puzzle, Evan Sigda. I'm just gonna look up Sigda. By the way, we're gonna have in tonight's Chumash, we're gonna have a Ibn Ezra Uncla's crossover.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Whoa. Uncla is gonna mention Ibn Ezra.
No. That would have been awesome. Raya that he had Ruach HaKodesh.
Right.
Sigda. Sigda. I'm not seeing it. So unless it's spelled, maybe it's supposed to be spelled Male, like with a yud. Sigda. Signi. Sivcha. Sigda. Huh? It refers me to Sigda though. So did I just not look it up competently? Yeah. See Sig.
Didn't it refer to Samach Gimel Daled?
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I looked. That's where I thought I looked the first time. Oh, there you go. Seguda is idol worship. Saying the page is loading. If your access is slow, you may like to purchase the CD. Oh, I never.
Genius.
Yeah.
So smart.
Now that's good marketing. No. It's just not loading this one page. All right. I'm just going to assume it means an idolatry stone. Okay. Good enough for me. All right. 29. Shlolita Asherah, not to plant an Asherah. So that is also different, right? Because he said not to plant any tree.
Right.
I think. Let's see. In Yud Gimel, he says Shlolita Ilan Bamikdash. This is Davka and Asherah now. Now that might be two. I don't know. We establish that that's not two names for the same thing, right? Asherah was a specific type of avodah zarah tree, I thought. But if you just plant a stam tree, then that's still usher, but it's not an Asherah. 30. Abid avodah zarah v'chol hana'asa b'shvilah, to destroy avodah zarah and everything that is made for it. 31. Shlo lehanos b'avodah zarah v'chol mashamashaha, not to derive enjoyment from avodah zarah and all of its accoutrements. 32. Shlo lehanos b'tzipuye neva, not to benefit from the adornments of the worshipped object. 33. Shlo lichros bris la'ovdei avodah zarah, not to seal a covenant with the ovdei avodah zarah. That one was also different. That was the one where he said not to seal, I think, a bris with the Shiva Amamin, right? Shlo lichros bris l'Shiva Amamin. Yeah, that's very different. Yeah, that one's more particularized, right? And also that one is not I'm still holding on to that theory. I guess the pasuk is vague because there's lo sichros bris lahem bris, which is I guess referring to them, but it could be both because it could be them as a category, them as particulars. Right. Where are we? 34. Shelo lachon alehem, not to have pity on them, mercy on them, grace on them. 35. Shelo yeshu be'artzenu, that they should not dwell in our land, not to let them dwell in our land. 36. Shelo lihidamos b'min hagosam u'mal bushan. So that is what we call chukos hagoyim, I think. Yeah, not to make ourselves resemble their practices and their dress. So technically speaking, from here on until the end is lumped under chukos hagoyim, but that's the one that is like, if you're going to call any mitzvah chukos hagoyim, that's the one. Shlo l'nachesh, not to read omens. That's 37. 38 is shlo liksom, not to divine, right? Not to use divination by going into a trance. 39, shlo l'onein, not to designate lucky or unlucky times or do sleight of hand. 40, shlo lachav or chaver. I always thought it was chaver, right? Not to incantations. Yeah, I always thought that that's also weird. What's the etymology of that? Because I think I've seen like scholarly non-torturable pei like translations of like translate as not to summon a familiar, and a familiar is like a witch's like spirit animal or spirit thingy, right. And like that would make sense like a chaver, but I have no idea what the etymology is of a lachaber, chaver, lachavor chaver. It's not even lachaber, it's lachavor. I don't know what it is. 41 shlo lidrosh el mesim, not to inquire of the dead. That was also different, right? I don't know. Didn't he say something about like in a dream? 38 shlo lisho b'chalom min hamesim. Yeah. Yeah.
It's the seeking information from the dead, and that's how you would go about it if you were trying to do that, I guess.
Right. Yeah. I see, because the thing is like this is also something to be aware of like if the first exposure you have to a particular mitzvah is in the Mishneh Torah, in the Koseres, then it influences what you think of as the primary thing. So like I don't think I saw this in the Sefer mitzvos or in the Minyan mitzvos until we did it. And like I always picture going to a graveyard and like talking to the dead like while you're awake.
Well, I thought that was Ovenidoni. That might be a difference.
I thought Ovenidoni is a specific way of doing that, not just Stam doing it.
But that's not in a dream, though.
That's not what?
That's not in a dream.
That's not in a dream, right? Right. So here he makes it sound like it's talking in a dream. Yeah. I think in the halachos, I think he says it involves you go to the graveyard and you sleep there.
Yeah, it was where you like take like some sort of potion and then you sleep there.
Maybe, yeah, because I'm pretty sure that Ov you're awake for.
Yeah.
Right.
Armpit control.
Yeah. 42 42. Speak of the dove armpit demon. 42. Shelo lishol ba'ov, not to inquire of the ov, and 43. Shelo lishol bidon. So I also found that weird that he puts them in two separate sections of Hilchos Avodah Zarah, the making it and asking of it, and it's like separated in the prakim by like 6 prakim, I think. Yeah. So we put it by molech, right? Earlier.
Yeah, when we were doing it in the minimum, we were like, oh, this is associative, and so that's why it's.
Yeah.
So here, it seems like they should be the same structure.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what I would have said, even though the first one said making, I would have said that should be classed over here because I'm presuming it was a type of chukos hagoyim. Otherwise, if it weren't a chukos hagoyim, it wouldn't be here at all.
Right.
So once it's here, it seems like this should be its main address. It's just weird they splits it up. Okay, next is 44. Shelo l'chashev, not to do magic. 45. Shelo l'hakif pas rosh, not to shave around the corners of the head. 46. Shelo l'hashchis pas hazakan, not to destroy the corners of the beard. 40. Yeah.
I think maybe the earlier ones were like creating some sort of structure or reality of Avodah Zarah.
Right.
Like, let's say, like not swearing b'shem Avodah Zarah is like giving it a certain like credence. And so there's doing that, and then there's making use of Avodah Zarah, which is I think a different thing.
I hear. Yeah, that's a good distinction. Although molech is I could see going into both categories.
Yeah.
46. Shelo l'hashis pas hazakan, not to destroy the corners of the beard. 47. Shelo ya'adeh ish adeh isha, not that a man shouldn't don a woman's adornments. And 48. Shelo ta'adeh isha adeh ish, a woman shouldn't adorn a man's adornments.
What's that lesson of ta'adeh or
ta'adeh? Yeah, I think ada is adornment. Yeah.
Really puts them in the other order than he did in the mitzvos.
Oh yeah, what did he do? You mean he did the isha first?
Yeah, if you look at the.
Oh yeah, you're right. That is weird. yeah. Don't know what to make of that. I mean, you could say here he is grouping it with the other things that for a man, but I don't know. Are peos there also? Oh, I can look at that. Peos come afterwards in the minyan mitzvos. Yeah.
The one before it is in the minyan mitzvos is Dor Shal Mason, and the one after those two is writing your body like Odeh Avodah Zarah.
Speaking of which, 49. Shelo lichtov ka'aka, not to make a tattoo. 50. Shelo lihis goded, not to gash yourself. And 51. Shelo lasos korcha al mes, not to make a bald spot over a dead body. Over a deceased person. Hilchos tshuva mitzvah achas. That's the famous one, right? That in the minyan mitzvos he said just stam vidui, lis vados, or lis vados b'svasav, something like that. Nimsu. See, now again he emphasizes the number. Nimsu kol mitzvos hanichlalos b'sefer zeh chamesh v'shivim, sheish esrei mehem mitzvos aseh, v'seisha v'chamishim mitzvos los aseh. So he wants us to know the number. He wants us to always be thinking about the number. That's very strange. Yeah. You want to stop for today?
Sure. Yeah, let's just stop and think about the number.
So let me stop recording. I'll tell you. So here's what I was going to